Start off by saying welcome to Infrastructure Week. I think it's always important to actually highlight when we're actually putting infrastructure in the ground. And it's kind of amazing that Wyoming lasted this long, because as some of you know, tourism is our #2 industry in the entire state, and that means people are going to come to the state of Wyoming. And whether it's going to be in an electric vehicle or an ICE engine, they're gonna show up where they know that they can get through and charge their station. I want to make sure that every community benefits from electric vehicles, and finding those partners that understand that when a charger goes in the ground, that people will be in this community. They'll want to explore the community, and they'll also want to explore the place where the charger is in. So when they have 30 to 60 minutes, they can go into the museum, and all 3 of the museums that we're planning on putting chargers in.
The history of electricity in Lander, which actually, there is a pretty extensive history of electricity in Lander. What's really cool to me, as the museum curator, director, or whatever, is this is just another part of the history. And in 50 years, 100 years, or whatever, this will just be another landmark in Lander's electrical history. Lander was actually the 3rd community in Wyoming, and this is Wyoming territory we're talking about. Wyoming wasn't even a state yet. Lander is the 3rd town to have electric power, which I think is kind of a remarkable thing given the location of Lander way out here in the sticks. Cheyenne was first in 1883. Cheyenne had electric power. Laramie was second in 1886. They had an electric power plant. Lander's electric power plant comes in 1888. Again, all of this is before statehood, so this is Wyoming territory. And our electricity in Lander is directly from a landmark that we still have on Main Street in Lander, the Lander Mill. The Lander Mill was built by Eugene Amoretti and J.D. Woodruff with the idea of processing the grain that was grown here in the Lander Valley and in this region, because otherwise they had to ship it to Rawlins or Rock Springs. It's a long, expensive trip, and so they tried to get a mill built here, and they did. Now, the original mill was water-powered, like many mills were at the time. You can see the flume right here. There was a big mill pond behind the mill, which was filled with water from the Pocosia, and they ran the water in to grind the grain, and that works great, except in January. So the water froze. So the owners of the mill were kind of like, well, we got to get this thing running year-round. So they converted it to steam power. Now, that's pretty interesting in and of itself. The steam technology had been around for quite a while. It had been used in mills before, but the Lander Mill was actually run originally by coal, which was pretty common for steam. The coal came from the coal mines outside of Hudson, and there was abundant coal that was already being brought over here by people to heat their homes. But not long after the coal was being used, some of the folks had the idea of, well, we've got all this crude oil floating around Fremont County. Why don't we use that? And it was one of the very first uses of crude oil to power steam engines. So we're way ahead of the game on that.
Jeremy.